how they would have done that. Honestly, I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but I think they wanted
Maybe-
to towards officials.
Maybe have Samoa Joe as the Raw representative and Corey Graves as the SmackDown representative for their picks.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm not
that's-
saying it's a bad idea.
It's just something I thought of. I didn't like Stephanie McMahon doing it. It just rubbed me the wrong way.
You know what I don't like about it is, and I'm sure you can understand it, is that when they say Raw picked this or SmackDown picked this, no, who picked it? You know, it's like, yeah, I get the fact that we all get the fact that Vince is back there with the board of directors and they're figuring this stuff out. I get that, but as far as on script, on camera, you know, is the one who is creative, or is it, and can't say that guy. Really on kind of both shows, really. But it's just that I just feel like, going a little detail. Who's picking this stuff? Besides the obvious.
Or even do what they kind of did by having bring in someone that's supposed to be behind the scenes running it. Like bring in Eric Bischoff for one show, have him do the Raw picks or whatever, and bring in somebody else to do the SmackDown picks, like Mick Foley or something. Just a talent.
Well, that or just bringing out the head of creative. You can or at least take that, or not take, but SmackDown. Yeah, bring out Bruce Pritchard, and you have Raw. You can bring out Shane McMahon,
or Eric Bischoff or something like that. Just say that they're head
Bischoff
of creative.
Bischoff's no longer part of the company.
Right, but he could still do a like 1 or 2 show appearance, and he would take it.
I get that. I just wouldn't totally. I would just see more of Shane than I would Bischoff. But
or whichever.
Or you have Pierce doing Raw and Pritchard coming out and doing SmackDown. Even though there's people, I think a lot of people know Pritchard is now. As far as it was a podcast, but a lot of the young fans wouldn't really remember him being Love, probably.
I don't remember him being Dr. Love. That was before me.
No, Brother Love.
I'm sorry, Brother Love. That was before me. I ended up seeing him for the first time on TNA, actually.
Okay, I was going to say young, I guess. Okay, a little bit older than us, maybe. But for y'all don't know who Brother Love is, he was the Undertaker's original manager on his debut. And then years later, they made him do an appearance, like mid-2000s it was. But he didn't. He did some like on-screen stuff. Like, announcing, not like an in-ring announcing, but just like different little things that they did back in the 90s, mid-90s. But anyways, that your wider audience would really know him except for his podcast.
Yeah.
But, anyways,
so the first
picks, good.
Yeah, so the first picks were Raw got Drew, SmackDown got Roman, so we're not changing up the major title scene at all, really.
Nope.
Raw kept Asuka. SmackDown drafted Seth Rollins, and Raw picks up the Hurt Business, which is MVP, Lashley, Shelton, Benjamin, and Cedric Alexander. So now Rollins is on SmackDown. He's no longer the Monday Night Messiah.
Friday Night Messiah now.
The Friday Night Frau. I don't know.
The Frau.
I just was thinking of Austin Powers, Frau Verbissen. I think Frau means woman in German, which is whoops. But so now he's on SmackDown, and at that point, I'm like, okay, cool. They're gonna stop the Mysterio storyline. Nope. Later, SmackDown drafts Mysterio.
Mysterio family. Yep. It's I wasn't sure what they're gonna do about that. They're at least, but Lord knows they're not done with it yet. But I guess it's their other families having issues, but we all know about that. But I was a little surprised they put him on SmackDown, and then the Mysterio guys, Dominic and Ray, moved to SmackDown too. Which I'm glad they stuck together, honestly. But I wasn't sure what they're gonna do about that.
WWE just like rehashing matches until they run them into the ground.
Sometimes it is like that.
Well, this is an example of it. Sheamus versus Big E, which is a fight in the parking lot. Who? Granted, it was a decent match, but who needed it? Like, no one needed it. Big E took a nice little spot on the windshield, but when at that point, Sheamus went for the bro kick, hit the trunk. Although, man, that powerbomb, that reverse the bro kick into a powerbomb that Big E did onto the hood, that looked good. That looked really good.
I think that what they really were obviously trying, they're trying to build up more V, and if he had took the loss, that's where my bigger question is: okay, what was the point? It's like you're trying to build him up as a single star, and then you're gonna have him lose. But thankfully they have him win, so I'm like, okay, that builds him up a little bit more. So, yeah.
It just would have been my opinion that he should have faced somebody else besides Sheamus, because Sheamus versus Big E is getting really tiresome. It's kind of like how Sheamus versus Jeff Hardy was getting really tiresome.
Yeah, I think they're about to end their feud. I think. No, next week they have one more match with 6-man tag match, but see how long, if maybe Sheamus is going to go to Raw or what's going to happen. But they need to kind of put Big E with someone else. I think now.
Yeah. The end of this is Big E does the big ending through a couple tables on the parking lot, and then Xavier Woods returns. So now we have the New Day, sort of. Jay then tries to call out Roman to figure out the stipulation. Paul Heyman basically comes on the screen. Roman's promo here was perfect for him. He did a very almost Jake Roberts-esque meticulous promo, and then announces that I was right. An I Quit match in a cage. I called this over about a week ago that it's going to be this, because given how they're trying to build up the fact that Roman wasn't acknowledged as the tribal chief and that he wants Jey Uso to acknowledge him, this had it written all over that it was going to be an I Quit match inside the cage.
All I got to say is, don't do it, Jay. Don't do it. He ain't a tribal chief. No.
But we both know that Roman's going to win this one.
Oh yeah, that's not even no doubt. It's just more or less I don't want to hear the word "you're my tribal chief." You can say I quit. I get that's going to happen, but make him beg for the tribal chief. That's right. He is your tribal chief, 3Cam. You there?
Yo.
You there?
Okay.
What happened?
I stood up and moved my mic, and then it came unplugged. So I'm trying to hurry up and get it plugged back in before you could notice.
I would say that we'll edit that out then.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't know. I might keep part of it because it's funny. But either way, yeah. I went to stand up, and I moved the mic up, and it came right unplugged. I'm like, great. Perfect timing for this.
I was like, Earth Cam.
Yeah. So then Stephanie McMahon comes out again and announces the New Day versus Cesaro versus and Nakamura tag title match later in the night to celebrate Xavier Woods returning. And then she announces that AJ Styles is to Raw. Banks is on SmackDown. Raw has Naomi. Bianca Belair is coming to SmackDown. And Nia Jax and Baszler are on Raw. So we kind of talked about this before. We thought AJ will be coming to Raw because he wants to see his kids' football games on Friday.
Yeah, I was not surprised by that one at all. I was actually more or less knew that was most likely going to happen as long as Vince would be okay with it. I'm sure he would be. And it's a good change for him, and he gets to go see his kids' football games.
And now he's out of the Intercontinental running. So, that little feud is done for, and he stopped doing that fraud that he was a former Intercontinental champion, which he couldn't have been because he never lost to or never won it from Sami Zayn.
Sami Callihan.
Sami Callihan's on Impact. Too many similar names. But he never won it from Sami Zayn, so he was never really the Intercontinental champion.
That's what they say.
I'm definitely gonna be like completely behind this Zayn character. I'll be a heel announcer there, like completely selling the fact that Zayn was correct.
I can see that happening. You can be Graves and I'll be Cole for that one.
Although I don't want to dress like Graves. He looks like a gigantic douche. So Miz and Morrison had a match against Jeff Hardy and Matt Riddle, which, okay, WWE just wants to pair Jeff Hardy up with someone named Matt. It's kind of like, I kind of felt like someone on the announce team is going to call it's Matt and Jeff Hardy.
I'll wait for that to actually happen, honestly.
It will probably happen.
I was when I said Jeff and Matt, I was like, you're just trying to reference Jeff and Matt Hardy.
That's what it felt like. Like, it seemed like that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
Man, so there was a part where Jeff had Morrison in the corner and was trying to do the 10 punches in the corner, and the camera was in the bad spot. You could tell Jeff Hardy was nowhere near hitting Morrison, and it looked really, really bad.
Yeah, I saw it too. I thought, yeah, same exact feeling.
Now, did you see what Riddle used? They look kind of like the neutralizer. Do you remember what it was called?
So what you said?
Matt Riddle did a finishing move that kind of looked like the neutralizer from Cesaro, but it was called something else, and I couldn't make out what they called it.
No.
Oh, well, that's what they ended up winning with. I didn't really dig the whole calling it Bro-retry in motion. That got tiring real quick.
Yeah. I heard that take. So they had that already written down the script. I know that. There's no way. I don't think they would have came up with that out of the blue, but who knows?
Yeah.
I'm sure they're going to tag up against eventually.
More than likely. And then Lars Sullivan returns and kind of destroys Matt Riddle. I almost said Matt and Jeff Hardy. Matt Riddle and Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, I was surprised to see Lars return. I was wondering what was going on with him. He's back. He'll be in the draft, being eligible for the draft on Monday night, tomorrow night. And I wonder where they will put him at now. Is he gonna be around the big guys or what? So we'll find out.
I feel like Owens. Oh wait, no. I think Owens actually got officially drafted.
Owens is on Raw.
Okay, he's on Raw. I don't remember if he got drafted or not. So it kind of feel like they're gonna have if anything, if Owens and Lars Sullivan are on the same show, I feel like Owens is just gonna be fed to Sullivan to make him look meaner, which it sucks because Owens is a really, really good talent.
They're wasting away on Rollins a lot right now. It's just, they need to do something more with him. If eventually they do something with him and Bray, it'd be all right, I guess, depending on how they book it. But they're kind of dropping the ball with KO.
Owens.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are. Immediately after this, McMahon came out. Ricochet stays on Raw. Jey Uso stays on SmackDown, which they said specifically Jey Uso, which tells me Jimmy and Jey are being split up. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, good.
Mandy Rose is on Raw. Mysterio's on SmackDown, so that feud's not going anywhere.
Nope.
And Miz and Morrison to Raw.
They're going to keep, well, they are going to keep, but for them to keep the Mysterio family and the Rollins feud going, they got to mix something up. They really do got to make something a little more interesting with it. And besides it having the same matches necessarily, it's just they got to spice. I mean, I know they're trying to do something different with the daughter and everything, but they got to do something more.
So I read before that Dominic is planning on donning the name Prince Mysterio and wearing a mask. I'm wondering if this move to a SmackDown is to start that.
Might be, but what makes you kind of think that?
Well, I read an interview that Dominic plans on wearing a mask because his dad wore a mask. Taking the name Prince Mysterio because Ray means king. And I mean, this would be a fresh start for Dominic.